my first question for you, okay, so tell me about your health. So do you think you are healthy and you are in a good health?
Yes, and have a good health.
So I am. So that's really important. So
I
when you
am.
are, of course, I am in good health. So when you want to say I'm healthy, of course you can say I am healthy, but you can also say I'm in good health. So let me share my screen because I
I'm
need
in good
it.
health.
Yeah, of course,
I'm
just
in
one
good health.
moment. Classroom, and that's it. Okay, so the first one, I'm in good health.
In
And
good
for
health.
someone who is not healthy, maybe, I don't know, for example, people who are not perfectly healthy, we can use I'm in poor health, or he is in poor health. So,
Okay.
for example, she is in poor health, not really healthy, so you can use it this way. Okay, of course. Or you can say, I'm perfectly healthy. So actually, it's like, your choice how to use. Well, and my next question. So let me ask you, okay, another question. So let's talk about, do you remember actually the pandemic of coronavirus? Do you remember?
Yes.
Okay, so can you tell me about that time, that period of time? Of course, it was really challenging, really difficult for maybe all the people all around the world. So it was like really horrible period of time. So tell me about it. So it was really, so tell me about people and, for example, about health condition at that time.
Mm. Yes, I remember that at that time, mm, um, we the hospital didn't have uh, enough spaces for the patients, um, and the government um, used used several ways to protect the citizens, but they could not. Um, um, they um, they heard. Um, they there was any family, any people, any persons in a family uh, have the virus. They they came to that house and uh, forced the patients to the hospital. Yeah, uh, and we were very frightened.
Of course.
Mhm.
Of course. It was, I remember that, everyone, so families and everyone had to stay in quarantine. So in order to avoid spreading disease to all the people. So you know that, so it was like, so we can use this word actually is used. So quarantine,
Quarantine.
you know that, you stay in, if you want to use the word, you can say, yeah, people had to stay in quarantine due to actually something like disease, and so that they don't spread, like infect all the people. Well, and tell me, how do you feel? Tell me about symptoms, your symptoms when you have a cold or flu, so especially cold. So do you have any symptoms, like, for example, what symptoms do you have when having cold?
Yeah, I had a throat cold, throat
Sore
cold,
throat.
A
Sore
sore
throat.
throat. Yeah. Sore throat a lot.
Yeah.
Uh, and have a cough
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
And tired. Fever. Get fever.
Yeah, of
Mm,
course.
yeah.
Yeah, and we normally, so we can say, so we have runny nose, or for example, stuffy nose, and
Yeah.
especially about voice. So let me give you another word that you can use. When you have cold or any infection or allergies, of course, actually it affects your voice. So it's like, you can't speak very well. So we can say, my voice is hoarse. So this one,
Your
when you
voice.
was, let me, yeah, of course. So that is, so when you have problem talking, so it's like your voice is not really clear. So voice is hoarse. Like, that
Mm,
is, especially when having cold or allergy or something like this. So this is
yeah.
another symptoms. Well, okay. And now let's talk about serious diseases in Vietnam. So what serious diseases people are facing in your country?
Mm, the disease serious in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Um, mm, Flu. The chicken flu.
Uh,
Uh, um, um, and the fever is caused from the mosquito. Uh,
of course, it's fever. Yeah, caused by mosquito bite, of course.
yeah.
Yeah, so there are
Um,
serious diseases.
yes, I
And do,
think.
yeah. And do you have any, for example, treatment to tackle these issues and to deal with these problems? And for example, these disease, like for example, as you said, bird flu or mosquito fever. So do you have
Yeah.
any way?
I have I haven't had any experience
Uh-huh.
of the bird flu or uh, the fever.
Yeah, of course.
I just get the
Of course.
COVID
Of course.
virus. Yes.
Everyone, I remember that. Yeah, everyone. And so let's keep going with the first word of this session, that is pandemic. So you know that but we have two words here, pandemic and epidemic. So what is the difference between pandemic and epidemic? So let me write here. Yeah. So, what is the difference? Of course, both of them means, for example, the spread of disease. Okay, but
Yeah.
of course, just let me
Pandemic.
say something. When we say epidemic, it's not only about disease. So you can use it for something bad, everything that is bad. For example, shoplifting is epidemic, so you can use it. But when we say epidemic disease is a disease outbreak that occurs within specific area, like in the country. But when
Mm,
we say pandemic, the whole world,
yeah.
international. So that is a difference between pandemic and epidemic when talking about disease. You can also use epidemic when talking about negative things. Like, for example, shoplifting. Like, for example, everything that can be bad. For example, nowadays, unfortunately, there is an epidemic, for example, shoplifting epidemic in my country. It's like, we have it a lot. So, epidemic in the country, pandemic, the whole world. So that is a difference between these two when talking about disease. Well, so tell me about pandemic. So of course, HIV, yeah, unfortunately is global pandemic. So can you name any other pandemic in the world?
Mm, COVID, COVID, the virus
Course.
COVID.
Yeah, of course, it was
Um,
really, yeah, horrible. And can you say, actually, can you consider the flu as
flu,
pandemic? Yeah, can you, yeah, do you think that's
bird
flu,
flu, bird flu.
influenza, influenza? So this one. So you know that it's severe, actually, version, really difficult version of cold. So we
Influenza.
know that, yeah. It's like, you know, influenza, and it's really common. And you know that many years ago, it caused that lots of people died. And yeah, so it caused the death of lots of people many years ago. But nowadays, of course, due to vaccination, so fortunately, there is no, but still, I think can be considered one of the most dangerous disease. So tell me about influenza. So first of all, you know this disease and you have in your country people suffer from
Influ and
influenza
influenza.
that we normally know it as flu. So flu or influenza, we normally use flu.
Mm. Um, cancer, cancer spread,
Yeah,
uh,
of
lung cancer or breast cancer or liver cancer,
oh
uh,
no, they are
breast,
not infectious. So we are talking about infectious, you
yeah,
know?
cancer.
Yeah, this is like it's something like caused by a bacteria or virus. So it's like different. So like cold, such as cold
Yeah,
or
and
coronavirus, for
then
example. Yeah.
dengue, malaria.
Yeah. So,
So
so
malaria is one of the disease it can spread to other people
yeah, I can spread. So
with
no,
the
I don't
fever.
think so. I have actually, I don't think so. Yeah. It can
No?
spread. I don't think so because you know that malaria is caused by actually mosquito bite, mosquito called malaria. So I think, yeah, can it be spread? I'm not sure about it. So it's like, but when we hit cold, yeah, cold can spread to other people because it's catching. So we are talking about catching disease like cold,
Catching
but I'm not
cold.
sure whether malaria is catching. I'm not sure. It's
Yeah.
really dangerous, but it's not catching. For example, if someone has, I don't know, this fever due to malaria bite, I'm not sure if this person can, for example, catch spread to no other one. I'm not sure about it. So we have catching and we have another word that is contagious. So you can use these two words when you can say that something is infectious. So let me write, it's like, let me write,
Infectious. Yeah.
yeah, contagious or infectious.
Infectious. Infectious.
Normally, diseases that are caused by virus are
Yeah.
infectious. So contagious, catching. So all them you can use, like such as the flu or cold or coronavirus. Of course, the most important one, coronavirus, or I don't know, but oh, we have, you know, I think chicken pox, human. So it's like the fever caused by chicken.
Chicken.
So yeah, chicken pox. So another one.
Yeah.
So of course, different. Well, so why we need to wear a mask? Because when having flu, because it's catching. So you can use it this way.
This
Well,
one influenza should wear a mask as a disease can spread to other people
yeah,
with a cough and sneeze. Yes,
of course.
influenza, influenza.
Just say flu. We don't say influenza. We say
Yeah,
flu.
yeah,
Yeah, of
just
course. Just say
flu.
flu. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and infect. So we
Infect,
have infect, that is the verb, to pass disease. So as you can see, to pass disease to a person. Yeah, of course. We can say to affect. In fact, to affect with a disease, especially causing like, by virus or something like this. So we say, for example, pregnant women who may have been infected with the virus, who have been infected means affect. So if I want to give you a good definition, I say affect with virus. That is the meaning of infect. Of course. Yeah. And we have a noun, infection, okay? That is the process of infecting. So you can say, for example, some people, for example, are at the risk of infection. So infection is a noun. So for example, yeah, we need to do everything to limit and to reduce the risk of infection. So this is the noun. Well, okay, mosquitoes can infect people with serious diseases, of course, right? That is can affect with virus, infect. Okay. And the next word, that is outbreak. So first of all, let's talk about the meaning. Here you can see a time when something suddenly begins, especially a disease or something else dangerous or unpleasant. So what is that? Actually, a sudden occurrence of something unwelcome. It's not really, such as war or disease. If I want to give you, for example, a synonym, we can consider epidemic. Okay, so as a synonym for it. So everything, every unwelcome thing that suddenly happens, occurs, can be considered as outbreak. Okay, so for example, a sudden disease, or for example, a sudden increase in currency, so can be outbreak. The outbreak of war, so everything, so we can say, yeah, for about disease, we can consider it as a sudden rise in, for example, the incidence of disease. Or if I want to get you for everything, so any unwelcome situation, so we can say a sudden occurrence of something unwelcome, such as war or disease. So, and how to use it, as I told you, the outbreak of war. So we can say, well, And after an outbreak of bird flu, people has become increasingly worried about consuming chicken and other, of course, poultry products. So tell me about this one.
Poultry.
Yeah, of course. So tell me about this one. So if you experience this situation like, bird flu in your country and, of course, people avoided buying chicken, actually some bird products. So we say poultry like chickens, any bird, dogs, so anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
poultry product.
yeah, of course. Well, like
Yeah,
turkeys,
I
like
remember
dogs.
in Vietnam. In Vietnam, we have many times of the outbreak of both the flu, yeah, and
Yeah,
the price of the food uh, is increased.
yeah,
Mm,
increased, of course.
yeah,
Just increased. You can use increased. Let me say, increase can be used as a verb. Just you use it
yes,
increase, and you can use it as a noun.
it's
And
a noun.
of course, adverb. So increase. So we have, for example, an increase in population. So this is noun. The population increased. So it's okay. And
Yes,
we have, for example, the population
yes,
increasingly, for example, so significantly increasingly. Okay, so
yes.
outbreak. Well,
Wow,
and let's use this word. It's your turn. Let's talk more.
yes. I have had the experience um, of um, pandemics of um, that I have experience about COVID-19 pandemics. Mm, mm, um, many years ago, many um, many years ago, the HIV is HIV is um, is an out, outbreak.
Yeah,
Um,
wise.
but now, but now, the government can control the uh, disease increase, the increase of the disease.
Yeah, of course.
It can
So many
increase.
years ago, there was the outbreak of HIV. Yeah, of course, it's like there was, but
Mhm.
but government, of course, took action in order to avoid
Mhm.
spreading
Reading,
disease,
yeah.
of course, and control and take it under control. They took
Um,
action to take it under control, not to spread, okay, more, but of course it was, yeah, there was an outbreak. Well, and flu, in fact,
yeah. Bird flu, the bird flu um, has infected, um, infect um, to people, um, the the bird flu has infected uh, to many people in Vietnam every year.
Of course. So infected too, no, just infected because it's verb. So it infected
Infected,
lots of people, of course, or a lot of people, of course, were infected by the flu. So you can use
yeah,
in passive or active form, so it's your choice.
yeah.
And just, about this
Mm,
word, let me write before I forget, because poultry, that is, as I
poultry,
told you,
poultry.
domestic. Fowl. Fowl means bird. Birds, such as, for example, like chickens or turkey, or for example, dogs. Just, when we say fowl or poultry, we mean domestic, so it's like domestic fowl or domestic birds. Well, yeah, okay, so let's watch. We have a video and we're going to talk about it. So let's watch the video together and how pandemics spread. So let's see. Let's watch and then we'll talk about it.
What is difficult?
Yeah, just one moment. Let me share.
We live in an interconnected and increasingly globalized world. Thanks to international jet travel, people and the diseases they carry can be in any city on the planet in a matter of hours. And once the virus touches down, sometimes all it takes is one sneeze to spread the infection throughout the community. When humans were hunter-gatherers roaming the wild savannas, we were never in one place long enough, and settlements were not large enough to sustain the transmission of infectious microbes. But with the advent of the agricultural revolution 10,000 years ago, and the arrival of permanent settlements in the Middle East, people began living side by side with animals, facilitating the spread of bacteria and viruses between cattle and humans. Epidemics and pandemics come in many shapes and forms. In 2010, for instance, a devastating earthquake struck Haiti, forcing thousands of people into temporary refugee camps. Within weeks, the camps had become breeding grounds for cholera, a bacteria spread by contaminated water, triggering a countrywide epidemic. But the most common cause of epidemics are viruses such as measles, influenza, and HIV. And when they go global, we call them pandemics. Pandemics have occurred throughout human history. Some have left scars on the tissue and bone of their victims, while evidence for others comes from preserved DNA. For instance, scientists have recovered DNA from the bacteria that transmits tuberculosis from the remains of ancient Egyptian mummies. And in 2011, scientists investigating a plague pit in the City of London were able to reconstruct the genome of Yersinia pestis, the bacterium responsible for the Black Death of the 14th century. It is thought the plague originated in China in around 1340, spreading west along the Silk Road, the caravan route running from Mongolia to the Crimea. In 1347, the plague reached the Mediterranean, and by 1400, it had killed in excess of 34 million Europeans, earning it the title, the Great Mortality. It was later historians who called it the Black Death. However, by far the greatest pandemic killer is influenza. Flu is constantly circulating between the southern and northern hemispheres. In North America and Europe, seasonal flus occur every autumn and winter. As the majority of children and adults will have been exposed to the virus in previous seasons, these illnesses are usually mild. However, every 20 to 40 years or so, the virus undergoes a dramatic mutation. Usually this occurs when a wild flu virus circulating in ducks and farm poultry meets a pig virus and they exchange genes. This process is known as antigenic shift and has occurred throughout human history. The first recorded pandemic occurred in 1580. The 18th and 19th centuries saw at least 6 further pandemics. In terms of mortality, none can compare with the Great Flu pandemic of 1918. The first indication of the pandemic came in the spring, when American troops in northern France began complaining of chills, headaches, and fever. Then, the following September, at a US Army barracks near Boston, soldiers started collapsing on parade, prompting their removal to the camp infirmary. As a surgeon there recalled, 2 hours after admission, they have the mahogany spots over the cheekbones, and a few hours later, you can begin to see the cyanosis extending from their ears and spreading all over the face. It is only a matter of a few hours then until death comes, and it is simply a struggle for air until they suffocate. On the SS Leviathan, a huge American transport en route to Bordeaux, sick men hemorrhaged blood from their noses, turning the decks between their bunks slick with bodily fluids. Meanwhile, British soldiers returning from northern France on furlough introduced the flu to Dover and other Channel ports, from where the virus was carried by rail to London. By the time the pandemic had run its course in April 1919, an estimated 675,000 Americans and 230,000 Britons were dead. In India alone, some 10 million were killed. And worldwide, the death toll was an astonishing 50 million. But that was then. Today, planes can transport viruses to any country on the globe in a fraction of the time it took in 1918. In February 2003, for instance, a Chinese doctor arrived at the Metropole Hotel in Hong Kong feeling unwell. Unknown to him, he was harboring a new animal origin virus called SARS, short for Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome. Within 24 hours of checking into room 913, 16 other guests had been infected, and over the following days, 5 boarded planes to overseas destinations, spreading the virus to Vietnam, Singapore, and Canada. Flights between Hong Kong, Toronto, and other international cities were quickly grounded, and thanks to other emergency measures, a pandemic was averted. By the time the outbreak was over 4 months later, SARS had infected 29 countries worldwide, and more than 1,000 people were dead. For all that the virus was rapidly contained, however, there was little that could be done about the alarming news reports carried by cable news channels and the internet. As bloggers added to the hysteria by spreading unfounded conspiracy theories, tourism in Hong Kong and other affected cities ground to a halt, costing businesses more than $10 billion. One business, however, did very well. Above all, SARS was a reminder that pandemics have always been associated with panic. If history teaches us anything, it is that while pandemics may start small, their impacts can be as dramatic as wars and natural disasters. The difference today is that science gives us the ability to detect pandemics right at the very beginning, and to take action to mitigate their impacts before they spread too widely.
Well, that's scary, you know, but sometimes, you know, yeah, really, sometimes we try to forget about something, and when we check, when we watch And when we remember that we, oh, what happened and what can happen, so it's like a bit scary. Well, so let's talk about the video that we just watched. So actually tell me about the video. It was like, yeah, it was about pandemic. So I want to ask you about SARS because, you know, according to the video, of course, unfortunately, people in your country experienced this disease. So could you briefly talk about it? So what happened to me about the symptoms and actually pandemic of SARS?
Pandemic SARS.
SARS,
SARS.
of course.
The symptom of this.
Yeah. So do you remember anything about that period of time? Okay, so can you briefly talk about the video? So if you want to summarize the information that you got, so what actually can you say about it? So
Maybe we have the symptoms in sore throat, get fever, and tired,
yeah,
cough, get tired, diarrhea.
so of course you feel like, you know, yeah, you feel like tired, but you know, if you want to use the noun, you need to use tiredness. So you know that this is the state of, yeah, being tired. You need, you wish for sleep, rest. So it's like, you know, just tiredness. So this is a noun. Tired is verb, of course. So you can say
Fatigue is a noun. Fatigue is tired. Feel very tired. Is fatigue.
yeah. It's like, you know, feel very tired. Let me write. So when you say it's like drained of
Brain.
strength
Yeah, brain.
and energy. It's like your body's empty. So drained of strength and energy, so you can't, you wish for sleep, for actually rest, because you can't do anything. Well, so of course, according to the video, so the history of pandemic, so during the years, so in different countries, unfortunately, people experienced and suffered from different diseases, and you know, lots of people were dead by virus or, for example, bacteria or some other disease. And normally, of course, we say infection. So it's like, and when we say infectious disease, it's like, you know, caused by virus, and most of people actually, and it could easily spread from one person to another one. So because of this, they can't control it. There is no control on these type of disease. Okay, so can you tell me why the influenza pandemic of 1980 to 1990, one of the severe pandemics in human history?
In the 1918 to 19. Why the disease spread?
Severe. Actually, it was really difficult,
Very
severe.
difficult to control. I don't know.
So of course, so the first issue, actually, you know that that period, there was no information about maybe the disease, actually, like, and the flu, and you know, there was no vaccination. The problem was, so nowadays, actually, by the progress and development of technology, of course, and science. So for example, for COVID-19, that's actually about that pandemic. So scientists could quickly, yeah, find the way, for example, vaccination. So actually they could, yeah, of course it took time, but they could tackle the issue and they could maybe take it under control. But about the flu, the virus, actually it was really killing. You know, there was no treatment, there was no vaccination, and there was no information about a suddenly outbreak, and there was no information. And you know, we are talking about 1980 to 1990. So we are talking about science, but you know, not maybe the time of development and the progress, no. So because of this, maybe they couldn't find, still is. And do you think that influenza still is pandemic? Yes, it is. So do you agree?
Yes.
But yeah, of course, they can control. Well, and tell me, in your opinion, what is the most dangerous disease that human is facing?
The disease causes the disease that caused by the virus.
Yeah,
It is very difficult to control
yeah, of
because
course.
it is in the air. We
Yeah.
cannot see. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So it's like you can say infectious disease. Of course, I do agree with you. So any kind of it. So any kind of it that can spread from one person to another one can be really dangerous. Well, and now let's keep going. So what factors affect spread of disease, you think?
Yeah. Um, to the health, to the people's health, that it affects uh, on the economic of a country. Mm, yeah, and maybe yeah, we
Yeah,
cannot go to work, and it's affect to the economy of the country and the health of everyone, the health of the people.
first of
Um,
all, so can we consider the war as the one of the most important factors that affect the spread of disease? Why I say war? Because the first one, so when actually during the war, lack
yeah,
of for example, safety, lack of clean water, potable drinkable water, poor hygiene, so everything, poor living conditions, so everything actually, all this is like a combination, a collection of factors that's caused by war. And of course, it's like, for example, you know that when water is dirty, especially, so we heard the word contaminated water in the video. Contaminated water. You know, contaminated is dirty, not clean. It's like especially by chemicals. So it can be
yeah,
food that and really harmful. So for example, because of maybe material or chemicals or substance added to it. So we can say it is contaminated and it's really, of course, polluted. So unfortunately. So we can consider the war. But about lack of education, do you think lack of education can affect spread of disease?
yes. We don't know how to protect ourselves, to control the spread to from the other to other,
Of
from the
course.
person to a person.
Of course.
Don't lack of education in keep the hygiene, personal hygiene.
Of
Mm,
course. Of course.
yeah,
Yeah, of course. Especially, yeah, you know, for example, for some disease like AIDS. So we know that lack
yeah,
of education is the most important factor.
yes,
So yeah, of
mm,
course.
yes.
Well, and the next question, what are the consequences of infectious disease? So in addition to health, of course, we know about negative effects.
It causes a financial problem.
Of course, definitely. Yes, of course. Yeah.
Lack of food, lack of food.
Yeah.
Lack of education and yes,
Yeah.
the most important is the health. Consequences of the disease is economy
Yeah.
and health.
Yeah, of course. And you have this word impaired, that is prevent. So do you agree with this? Now, for example, it's actually prevents the society from development. So it's like they can't. So it's stopped. It's hold back. So do you agree with this? Impede the development of society. Do you agree?
Development of society.
This one, as you can see, yeah, development of society. So do you agree with this?
Development of society.
Prevent,
Yes.
yeah, of course, prevent, stop it. So hold it back. You know, I think, let me give you actually maybe an alternative to talk about. When we need something, we try to find the ways. Or for example, when I think need can make people more creative. So in some ways, we can say that maybe infectious disease, not only infectious, any epidemic or pandemic can make people more creative because, you know, we have to, like COVID-19, because we had to have vaccines. Of course, we did it. So scientists did everything to find a way. But, you know, so in some ways, we can say that it helps because need make people more creative, make you do something, take action, be faster. But at the same time, yes, when the society is not physically healthy, of course, can't be developed and can't be in a good way to reach the goals, the aims. So what do you think? Do you agree with this?
Yes. Yes. You mean that if we have a lot of needs, when we need, uh, we will be more creative.
Of course. So because we need to find, so okay, we have cause here, so we need solution. Cause, disease, killing people. Solution, we need to find a way. So I think in some, as I told you about vaccine, so for COVID-19, short period of time, and they
Yes,
could
yes.
find a way
And
because they had to, you know, they had
yes,
to do it. Yeah.
we have a lot of ways. We find many ways to improve that situation.
Of course.
We can quarantine. We stay at home, so we try to now honor the way to buy or sell food. Yeah,
Of course. Yeah,
yeah.
I do. Well, and the next one. What can we do to prevent disease from spreading? So, Which one? Get vaccinated, well informed of disease, not share personal items. So what do you think?
What? I think what?
So you think this one,
Yeah.
this question, what can we do?
What can we do
Yeah.
when the disease is spread?
To avoid.
Avoid. Yeah.
I'm not sharing. I'm sorry. I'm not sharing
Yeah.
the board. I'm so sorry. Because of this, I said, okay, I'm showing you. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, so sorry. Okay. Well,
Yeah. We do to
you didn't tell me
prevent the
anything. So
disease.
sorry. Oh, it made me feel bad. I was like, yeah, I wasn't sharing. Sorry.
What can we do to prevent the disease from spreading? Now, we raise the awareness of self-protect from the disease to prevent spreading the disease. We learn to protect how to protect ourselves and our family.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I do agree. And be a discerning customer. So first of all, let's talk about this word. What is the meaning of this? Discern means actually to be careful, to be conscious, and to have good judgment. It means I am, for example, like I have enough information so I can, so that I'm really careful. So being discerning means it's like knowledgeable about something, conscious. So we can say, so this one, yeah, of course. Do you agree? I think yes. So to be aware, to be knowledgeable about something, it can be really helpful. Do you agree?
Yes.
Of course. Well, okay. And well, this one. Wow. Do you think that humans can find a miracle cure for all disease in the future? I don't think so. How about you?
Do you think that human can find a miracle cure for all the disease in the future? Yes. No.
No.
Yeah.
So why do you think no?
We because the human can find the way to cure all the disease. I think in the future in the future there will be another disease, another types of disease occurs. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I do agree with you. Once we find a way, maybe another one will occur and we don't know. Okay, so maybe, but for everything, it's really difficult. So I do agree with you. But actually, what I don't know if I'm talking about the microchip, if you heard about it. So that's Elon Musk. So he could find a microchip that they want to actually use it, and I don't know, they want to add it like an extension to actually human brain or skull. I'm not sure what it is, to maybe cure and to treat every disease. So have you heard about it?
No, I have never heard about that.
Of
If you
course.
have any information about that,
I do,
please
but I
send
will
me.
send you. I do, but I will send you the link. It's not bad to watch it. This is an
Yes.
interview. It was really interesting. If
Yes.
something like this happens, I don't know, so it can be really great, maybe,
Yeah.
but at the same time can be really dangerous. So they can do anything on your brain. So it's like, can be really dangerous. I will share, it's really interesting. I liked it. So I will share the video so that you can watch it later if you have time. Well, and the last question, to what extent do you agree that modern science and technology can have both positive and negative effects on human welfare?
Welfare.
Yeah, right.
I mean, welfare is
The meaning of welfare is to health, to happiness,
health.
well,
Yes,
everything
happiness.
that is good for humans. So health and happiness, well-being. So what do you think?
Yes, I think so. Modern science and technology can have both a positive and negative effect on the human health. Yes.
So,
Um,
instance.
yes, the modern science can have can cure all the disease. Um, but the modern science and technology will also cause the negative effect. They cure and they cause the negative effect on the human
Of course.
welfare. Yes,
Yeah.
everything in the world have a both sides, the positive and negative.
Maybe they have some negative consequences in long term. We don't know about future. Now, for example, this cure is really good. But what will happen in the future? So because we have nothing about the consequences of, for example, scientific discoveries or, for example, facts. So in the future, so in long term, maybe they have some negative consequences.
Yes.
Well, okay, well, that's it about this topic. Any questions, any issues related to this parade? Something that you want to ask me?
No questions, but I will listen to the video again. I will learn much about this topic.
Of course. So I will send you the video of the lesson, and in addition, I will send you the video that I just mentioned. So 2 videos, and whenever you're available, you can easily listen and watch, and then we'll talk about it. Okay?
Thank you so much. Yeah, goodbye. Thank you.
Have a great day. Wonderful day.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.